for me, judging the movie, I enjoy this movie. I find it amusing and funny, and that was a really good point, Nathan. It does have a good heart. Like, it's crass, and I think Vacation is a better film too, but Vacation is really crass. You know what I mean? Like, it's like a totally different, like,
Oh,
you
when they
know.
get off the highway in St. Louis, right there alone,
Yeah, it's like it's a different beast altogether. I enjoy this film. I do see, I can see the point of negative reviews where I do think it is a more kind of middling 80s comedy, but I enjoy it because for me, I find it pleasant and I find it amusing. And I actually I like the dialogue. I like the banter. I think, but John Candy's a good character. And I think that Dan Aykroyd is just hilariously over the top in this movie. From everything from his when Dan Aykroyd like sees John Candy and his wife and they're like making out in the living room and they think they're alone and Dan Aykroyd comes in and the look on his face, he's like he's like a happy like kid. That
Oh,
just
when brings out the camcorder and starts filming them when they're
yeah, when
on
he's
his
just
level
like
trying to get in.
it just that sets the tone. And I love how annoying he is and like how John Candy like just can't stand him and is like holding it back. So there's that great dynamic of being stuck with like a family guest that you don't want to be there. I actually, what I really like about this movie is John Candy's son, his like brief relationship with the girl from the town. I
Mm.
love that because for some reason, like, that was an opportunity for like, you talk how they like avoid like fat jokes, but they could have made his son like a jerk or gone for more like crude teen sex comedy or something like that. And like, they have good like funny moments, but I just find their like brief relationship like realistic and interesting and quintessential 80s. Like, there is literally a shot at the 45-minute mark. It's right after like John Candy like fell off his horse and they're like, "Hey, where you been?" And he's like, I gotta go home. I gotta go home. It then cuts to a fair at night with like an 80s song and then on a long shot with like a thin depth of field where it's like there's a sun and then the girl comes around and they're like having their moment at the fair and it's like quintessential 80s perfect. Like, I just love the way that moment is directed, and I know I'm like overthinking it, but
Can I make a comment on that?
absolutely.
So I was of two minds of that. When I this time around, when I was observing this romance, I was actually kind of bored by it. I want to like get back to the A plot because
Right.
this is
It
kind of a
is a
B
B
plot.
plot. It's totally a
But
B
I
plot.
will
Yeah.
say, back when I was a young teenager, I adored this part of the movie because it was my fantasy to have a summer romance like this.
Exactly. That's the thing. But like, in seeing it again, it reminds me of my nostalgia for that time period,
Yes.
and it does it so well. And they could not get better. Like, they've got the fair at night. Then when he's like saying goodbye to her later, they're like dramatically lit on this dock. Like, they've got the like romantic cinematography out in spades, and I totally am a sucker for it. I'm like,
I know.
oh, the
I,
80s,
you know,
you know.
Hammy is like so cute. She's
Yes,
smart. She's
right.
independent, and she's feisty. She is
Yes,
perfect girlfriend material for 14-year-old Nathan back in the day.
right.
And 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 because I'm an old curmudgeon who doesn't believe in love anymore. I just kidding. It's fine. It's totally
A
fine. But
cold heart. No, just
go ahead. Go ahead.
no, but yeah. So I love that scene, and so I just I the thing about this movie is like some of the gags are fine, some of them fall flat. I was amazed that I've seen this movie over the years on TV where there's like commercial interruptions, so there's a lot of scenes that are spread out. Seeing it all as a one piece of movie, I was amazed how quickly it went by. Like, it's 90 minutes. It's like a breezy, like, I almost enjoyed the situation. I could have done with the movie being like 15 minutes longer. I
Hmm.
will say, on an amusing level, this is a joke I've always had about the movie. I'm poking at good fun, but the name of this film is called The Great Outdoors, and like 60% of the screen time is spent in like bars and restaurants and like it's like they don't even spend the night like camping in tents in this movie. Like you'd think it'd be the perfect opportunity in a movie titled The Great Outdoors. But what I also like about it is it's so grounded in like kind of a realistic family vacation like that. That's the type of thing that would happen. So I enjoy the movie. I don't think it's amazing, but I find it pleasant. I enjoy it. I find it amusing. If it's on TV, I'll always watch it. It's just it's enjoyable. Oh, and one quick fact before I give the review the stars, but the original ending in John Hughes' original script, the daughters of Roman were supposed to get like hooked by a giant fish out
Yeah.
in the lake, and that was going to be the climax. And they built a fish, but they changed it to a bear, and they actually used Bart the bear, which was like the Hollywood well-trained bear that was also in the movie The Edge with Alec Baldwin and
Oh
Anthony
yeah.
Hopkins. Same grizzly, but
And
so,
a
but I
lot
think that I'm glad they went with the bear. Like I
Art
think the
the
fish would have
Bear
been
was one of
dumb.
the most prolific actors of the 90s. Actually, he did The Bear, White Fang, Homeward Bound,
Yes,
on Deadly Ground, Legend of the Fall,
Legend
12
of
Monkeys,
Fall.
and The Edge. He had a bigger career than most A-list actors in the 90s.
Yeah, he was a big successful bear.
Yeah.
Bart the bear.
Yeah.
I will end by saying, yeah. So, I mean, I definitely have more thoughts on the movie, but I will say that I would give it a solid, strong 3 stars.